Appliques, you can add 2 different items, just sew them on a little bit, or glue them on, that works too. And then embroidery, if you are super talented with the needle and thread, is another way that's cheap because embroidery thread is like 25 cents. And if you have any skills, you can definitely add that onto clothing to make it zip a bit more. Also, think outside the box. You can take skirts and wear them as dresses, lots of different things like that, just because an item of clothing was originally intended for something doesn't mean that's how you have to keep it.
And I'd just like to point out a few examples on the costumes that we're wearing today of thinking outside the box. The hat that I'm wearing we found at Target, and you can't see it, but there's this, or did you take the buckle off? There was a black plastic buckle here, and we found this nice filigree type necklace pendant, and Jen here sewed it on for me, and it totally changed the look of it. Oh wait, I can feel the buckle, it's still there. You can't really see it very well. And this pin that I have on my vest, this is actually a hat pin that we've used as a brooch. And then Beth Ann has used belts in many different ways. She's wearing a necklace and armbands that she made from a belt. And yes, and her arms have stockings on them.
All right, as far as making your own accessories go, there are several ways to go about them. I'm just going to read the list and then we'll talk about them. You can build your own, you can paint something you already have, you can glue things together, you can make something look older, or you can build something that's actually working. The easiest thing to do would be just to paint something. That would be a Nerf gun type of example. Another thing some people can do, I cannot, is disassemble the Nerf gun, make it look cooler than it already does, and then paint it that way. As far as building things go and gluing things, that would be my bazooka example here. This is actually a candlestick. There is a funnel on here, there are some tubes, there's a gauge, some pipes. I don't know what this is, there's a light up here. Pretty much, there is a lot of hot glue and spray paint on this. It doesn't sit that way anymore.
Oh, right. This is how the candle originally.
So pretty much you can glue anything together and still make it look cool. I think it looks cool. As far as aging things you already have, obviously going out and buying something that looks brand new, it's not going to look like it's older. Some types of aging techniques. There's blackening solutions you can buy, which will sort of, stain the metal. You can also, I'm not sure exactly how, but like rust the metal, pretty much just beat up your stuff and make it look like it's older than it actually is. Paint can also accomplish this, black spray paint does wonders. Comments? No? You good? Oh, do we want to talk about the aging thing?
Yeah.
Yes. We don't have a picture of it, do we? No. All right, as far as building things go, last December, Jen and I went to an event and we had built some angel wings out of wood and string, and they actually were collapsible. And I'm not talented as far as this goes. Luckily, my brother knew what he was doing, but it is possible. I pretty much was like, hey, let's make some wings, and then figured out how we could make that happen. So there is a way to pretty much do anything you want. It just takes, either your know-how or find someone else that knows how to do it. All right, questions? We might have answers. Anybody? Anybody at all? Anything? Comments, concerns?
Jen, you didn't show your whip.
Oh, did you want to see Jen's whip?
This is something that was made, Beth Ann made it. This handle came from a knife sharpener. She got her brother to cut it down to size. And then this is a hose for your sink. So, I mean, really just wander around craft stores, thrift stores, and like Home Depot and that kind of thing. And you'll find a lot of things that you can modify into whatever you want. You're really only limited by your own imagination here. You can do things cheaply and creatively if you just take the time to really figure it out. And glue guns are your friends.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, good.
Just a reminder to never underestimate the power of the fan for women. I mean, it's practical too, because if you, I do the classic, and there's layers upon layers upon layers. This is Chicago. We have weird weather. So, yeah, you can be freezing cold and love the fact that you're wearing 5 layers. And then 15 minutes later, it's burning hot, and you need the fan to not smell bad. So, just remember that it's practical as well as decorative.
Fan's a good idea to have anyway. My costume doesn't even make sense for you to have one, and it's still a good idea. For aging stuff, there's something called Rub and Buff.
Yeah, I told her about that. I also age clothes. I'm going to be a steampunk Confederate soldier tomorrow, and I'm blown to hell. I'm not kidding. I left aging clothes is a good thing. Not every steampunk looks lovely like this. Some people have been blown to hell. And leave your clothes outside for 6 months, throw dirt on them, drag them down highways. I put coffee grounds, you know, tea staining is good.
Yes.
Coffee grounds, just nasty coffee grounds, rub it all over, it works. It's wonderful. And that way you don't look pristine. If you want pristine and pretty, great and wonderful. If you want to look like hell, you can do that too.
Anyone else?
How much mixing and matching do you end up doing?
How much mixing and matching?
Yeah, what you've got, and you just say, oh,
Well,
put this together.
I have at this point, I would say more steampunk clothes in my closet than I have normal clothes. So I can do a decent amount of mixing and matching. Pretty much, I could probably, like, you could pick out one item and I could make a costume around that with what I have. That doesn't stop me from buying more, but well, what are you going to do? So mixing and matching, pretty easy to do actually, with, you know, the amount of clothing that we have.
Yeah, I mean, with steampunk, you can really mix patterns, mix colors. Black and brown, which is something I've always been scared of. Mixing, you can obviously do that really well with steampunk. And yeah, you can do things where it's, I know that when Beth Ann got her first costume, she then kind of looked for other stuff that can kind of mix and match with that, so that she could, you know, wear her corset with different outfits for a totally different look.
Ideally, my eventual goal is to have a completely modular wardrobe, so I can say, hey, I want to look like a pirate today, and I can wear, you know, the Western shirt with the, you know, Sky Pirate shoes, and, you know, that sort of thing. A lot of people just want one costume. There's nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of people want to, you know, mix elements into everyday life. It's pretty much whatever you want it to be, and that's what makes it hard.
Another thing that I found just kind of floating around on the internet is, especially on Constructables, is stuff that is built with cardboard tubes and stuff found in your recycling bin. Like
Yes,
silk
yes.
toasters.
Cardboard tubes, there are actually 2 toilet paper rolls on this right now. If you find them, I will give you a cookie. Or cry, one of the 2. Yeah, they're kind of obvious, but shh, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, you don't have any cookies, I'm sorry, she lied. They're invisible cookies.
Yes. But as far as using household items, this is a funnel here. This is a piece of Sintra my dad cut for me. You know, there's some pipes I had laying around. I collect up bunches of metal bits and things, so I'm definitely doing a lot of recycling as far as that sort of thing goes. So definitely using stuff you have is a much cheaper alternative to going out and buying all of it. Cannot imagine what it would cost to buy out all the pipes and things. You know, they're like $5 for a thing this big, kind of outrageous. So yeah, estate sales and that sort of thing are your friend. Pretty much buying anything when you see it, at least is for me. I might have a use for this someday, rather than going out and specifically looking for it, makes it a cheaper way to do it. And
Another suggestion, since steampunk is so varied, I find it's best to, like, do research, just type in steampunk in, like, Google or DeviantArt or whatever, and just get a general idea of what you think it is. I mean, there's just so many options out there.
That's actually what we did to find most of the pictures for
Yeah.
our slideshow, if you couldn't tell already. but it's
I have
a
half
great
of those in my
resource.
collection.
Yeah, there's a lot of great resources online, especially if you're looking into modding items. I really like the Brass Goggles forum. They have a lot of neat modding advice on there. But obviously we're not experts at modding. We use glue guns. If you are experts, there's a lot of resources online to help you with such things. And I actually think that there's a not a steampunk prop building, but a prop building for cosplay panel tomorrow. So I think we're going to wrap it up then if nobody else has any last minute questions. Thank you all for attending.